little power wheelie here from second gear.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's me, Eric B, and welcome back to the channel. And we got some great weather to get out and go ride. And I've gotten a few requests to do this video, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about sport bike and naked bike. So right here I have an MT10, and some of you may know I've had this bike in the past, so if you haven't seen any of those videos, definitely go check them out. And in my current bike that I have now, the R6. So some of you may be on the fence, you know, hey, do I want a sport bike or do I want a naked bike? And kind of want a little bit of a comparison between the two. So what we'll do real quick, we'll just go through the looks of the bikes. We'll talk about ergonomics and stuff like that. Get out and ride both of them and kind of talk about the power and stuff and let you guys decide, you know, on your own from there. So let's check them out. Alright, so from a looks point of view, I just love the way the sport bike looks. I mean, don't get me wrong, this naked looks amazing, but just, I don't know, it's just, I think it's all, you know, personal preference. Looks are subjective, and I just personally like the way that sport bikes look, especially this R6. Then you have the MT10. I love the way that the MT10 looks, and then you have other bikes out there like the MT09, MT07, you have KTM Super Dukes, there's a couple of other ones out there, but a lot of people aren't, you know, a fan of the way that the front end of the MT10 looks, but I love the way that, you know, it has that transformer look to it or whatever. Yeah, I think the thing looks like a beast, man. But yeah, so like I said, looks are subjective. So we got the Akrapovic exhaust on this one. We have the, I don't know how you say it, Leo Vince, I don't know. Anyway, we have that exhaust on this one right here. And as you can see, the things that are gonna make it easy as far as performance upgrades goes, with this, if you wanna get rid of the cat, it's all bolted on. You don't have to do any kind of cutting or anything. With the R6, it's all one piece. So you have to drop the whole thing and you have to cut the cat out in order to, you know, put a Y pipe in there. If you want to go that route, if you don't want to put a full exhaust on it. But yeah, other than that, as far as looks goes, I don't know. They both look amazing, but you guys can decide. All right, so as far as mirrors go, I don't like these type of mirrors that they put on some of these naked bikes. I think nakeds look better with bar end mirrors, and sport bikes look okay with them, but just because of where the handlebars are positioned, you have to look down even further. So from an ergonomic standpoint, I kind of like where they are stock on a sport bike. All right, so if we look at some other key differences here, so the seats. So a seat on a sport bike isn't going to be that comfortable. Some can be, but not a lot, just because these are basically track bikes with headlights and everything on them. So the seat usually not that comfortable on a sport bike, but on a naked, they're usually a little bit better. Now on the MT10, I heard the stock seat isn't really all that well. When I had my MT10, I had the comfort seat, so I didn't really mess around with the stock one too much. But typically these are going to be more comfortable because you're riding it around town, doing longer rides and stuff like that with them. Next thing you'll notice is the handlebars. So you can see how much higher just from this look right here. You can see the handlebars here. The clip-ons are a little bit further down, and right here you have a higher handlebar position on a naked bike, which makes it more comfortable. You sit more upright. On a sport bike, you're gonna sit, you know, more hunched over. All right, guys, so if you want the short answer, just know that a sport bike is gonna be the most overall aggressive and sportiest bike that you can get. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be hitting canyons with it. You're gonna be taking this thing to the track, you know, and if you just wanna overall look cool, it's your money, you know, you do you, boo. But the naked bike is gonna be the best of both worlds. You get overall comfort, you know, it's good for riding around town, you know, going on longer road trips and stuff like that, but you get the best of both worlds. So you can still track these bikes and still, you know, have fun through the canyons and still be comfortable all at the same time. All right, don't worry guys, we're gonna get out and ride these things, but just so you can see a first person view here, you can see how the clip-ons, how they're super low and everything. You can get a kind of a look at the dash and the mirrors and all that stuff and how everything looks there. All right, and then we have the naked here, so you can see the handlebars are a little bit higher, the mirrors are up a little bit higher and everything. You can get a look at the dash there, and yeah, everything is just more comfortable on this bike. Alright guys, so as far as features go and everything on these bikes, the MT10 does come with cruise control. Not all your nakeds do, but I know this one does, and not many of your sport bikes will come with that either. Now, unless you have a BMW S1000RR, it comes with cruise control, and I even think the new ZX10R comes with it as well. But yeah, you get cruise control, you'll get power modes, you'll get traction control, ABS, all the bells and whistles there. And even on the R6, I have ABS. I have some power modes and traction control as well. So you do get some good features, and if you get the higher end model like the SP model, it comes with the R1 display, O-lean suspension, and some other goodies. All right guys, and a naked bike is nothing more than a naked sport bike. It just doesn't have the fairings and everything on it, and obviously the handlebar position is a little bit different. The seat usually sits back a little bit lower, so you sit more upright. On a sport bike, as you can see, the handlebars are going to be lower down, the seat's going to be a little bit higher up, so you sit more forward, you're more aggressive. But as you can see, things like the brakes, the wheels, the suspension, and everything like that is typically all the same. All right, so another big difference between these two bikes is going to be power, obviously. So this isn't the best comparison because this is a 600 and the MT10 is a 1000, but even if it was an MT07 or an MT09, the difference is going to be huge when it comes to torque. So naked bikes are known to have a lot of torque down low, you know, low to mid-range punch, and that's good, and that's what you want really when you're driving around town and things like that. I mean, it's more fun to drive around that way, I mean, in my opinion. You can do wheelies easy and everything, versus a sport bike, you're going to really have to, especially with an R6, you're really going to have to wring it out in order to get that power out of it, because everything is top end. It doesn't have a lot of low end torque at all. Now, some of your 1000cc sport bikes, you know, they're upwards in the 80 to 90 pound-feet of torque range, but it's just different between how sport bikes and naked bikes put down the power. Alright guys, so real quick, I'm going to do a sound check for you guys between these two bikes. I don't know how well it's going to come across on camera or anything like that, but between the naked and the sport bikes, you get a few different flavors as far as how the exhaust and the engine sounds, because you get different motors. So with the R6, it's an inline 4-cylinder. The MT10 here is an inline 4-cylinder, but it's a cross-plane motor, same as the R1. But you also get things like a triple, so something like a Daytona 675R is a triple. You get the MT09, which has a triple. Sport bike, you have the R7 now, which is a parallel twin based off of the MT07. What else you got? You got V-twins, like in your KTM RC8, and you also get V4s, like in your Ducati Panigale. So let's check them out. All right, guys, so this is going to be a cold start for both of these bikes. So here's the R6. All right, and here's the MT10. Also, this just has a slip on it, still has the cat on it. Alright, and just giving you guys a look at how I look sitting on both a sport bike and a naked. So, like I said before, higher seat position, lower handlebars, you're going to be more leaned over. Alright, what it looks like from the front. Alright, and we got the MT10 here. As you can see, I'm a little bit further back on the seat. The handlebars are up a little bit higher here. You don't feel so crouched over or anything like that. And then when you get on it, you know, you really just gotta lean forward, because these things will throw you back and it'll do a wheelie if you're not ready for it. All right, in the front view with the MT10 here. All right, so we're gonna take both of these bikes, get them out on the road, and see some of the performance and ergonomic differences. All right, the MT10.
Check this bad boy out. Alright, guys, get a look at the dash there. Not bad. Love the way this thing feels, man. It's nice and comfy, I will say. I waste no time. Right off the bat. Man, do I miss being on this bike. This thing has a ton of torque. Holy cow, going from the R6 to this bike, insane. Like I said before, this thing does wheelies, like power wheelies, so easily. Like if you're not, you know, ready for it, man, it'll throw you off. So now, on this bike, I feel a ton more wind and everything in my chest and everything compared to being on a sport bike, because like I said before, you don't have the windscreen or anything right here, or anything like that. Most of your nakeds are like that, but you can buy aftermarket windscreens and stuff to put on here to kind of block some of that wind out. And you can do other things, you know, you can add bags and stuff on the back and stuff like that. You can really turn this into a touring style motorcycle if you want to, and take it on longer road trips. You can get a more comfortable seat and everything for it. And then as you can see, just sitting here, man, the handlebar position, you know, I'm sitting up straight and everything, and it's not going to be too rough on my back or anything like that. And on this bike, you get 3 power modes, 1 being the sharpest, most aggressive, 2 is a little bit more smooth, and 3 being the smoothest and less aggressive. Now, my MT10 did not have a quick shifter on it, but this one does have a OEM Yamaha quick shifter on it, and it's pretty smooth. Now with these mirrors, like I was saying, on these naked bikes, I just don't like the way that they look, but ergonomics wise, you know, they look good because you can just look over real quick and see behind you. You don't have to look all the way down and everything, which I think it'd be worse on a sport bike. But even bar and mirrors on a naked bike still isn't bad. It's just harder to see because your shoulders and everything get in the way and you can't really see behind you. But yeah, this bike handles pretty good, man. You can flick it around a little bit here, and the weight on this bike is 460 pounds. But like I said before, I'm comparing basically a 1000 to a 600. It'd be nicer if I had something like a MT-07 or MT-09 or something like that. I think that would be a little bit better comparison, you know, between my R6 and a naked bike of this caliber. So this bike would be definitely something I would like to, you know, ride back and forth every day to work with, around town, and just, you know, if you're going out doing a nice little ride and everything and enjoying the scenery, I think this would be the bike to do it with. And at the same time, you can still have fun with this thing, man. You can still hit some nice twisties. Like I said, it's got good suspension and tires and everything on it, and you can still take these things to the track. I see guys taking these bikes to the track all the time. Like I said, the other cool thing with this bike is that it has cruise control. Let's see if it'll work at this speed here. Yep, and just set it. Look at that. We're set, 50 miles an hour. So that's pretty cool. Turn it off there. Now I will say, I ran a couple sport bikes, 1000cc sport bikes on this bike when I had it, and it'll hang with them, man. You know, doing like a second gear hit or something in a straight line, and you'll hang with them till about like 120 or something like that, and then they finally, you know, their top end finally kicks in and they start to pass you. But low to mid range, man, this thing doesn't mess around. So like I said before, you can still lean over, have a little bit of fun with this thing. No, not too bad. Bunch of papers in the road here. In the world? A little power wheelie here from second gear. Oh man. You will loop this thing if you're not paying attention. Like I said, man, the torque is crazy down low in these things, and they're wheelie monsters all day long. You don't have to do clutch ups, even though they say power wheelies are probably a little bit more dangerous to do. I mean, that's just what I've heard from other people that do wheelies and stuff. They say clutch ups are a little bit safer, which, I mean, if you don't know what the hell you're doing, no matter what you do, I think it's gonna be you're gonna end up in a bad way. Man, this thing will get up and move. You know, you get into things like this, like in traffic and stuff like that, you know, you're still sitting upright, you're comfortable, you know, stop and go, versus being on something like an R6, an R1. Not only is it going to be more uncomfortable for you, just because of the position that you're in, but also the engine and everything and how it's tuned and all that stuff it's gonna act a little bit differently, because they don't want to go at those lower speeds. Those bikes like to, you know, be screaming up top. What does Yamaha stand for? You and me are hauling ass. That's what those bikes like to do. Alright guys, and if you're just starting off, you're new to bikes and everything like that, and you're looking to get a naked, I would not recommend getting an MT10 or even an MT09. Both those bikes are crazy when it comes to power. I would start on something like an MT07, and even some of the other brands have some good ones out there, like Kawasaki and Honda, Suzuki, and stuff like that. Or if you know you want to go to Ducati route or something like that, they all have some nice naked bikes as well. Alright, now time for the sport bike. Let's get it. Alright, immediately going from the MT to this, you can definitely tell a difference in seating position, like I said, because you're sitting upright, you know, you're further back and everything. As soon as you sit on this, you're just leaning forward right on your arms. You can hear this exhaust a lot better. It doesn't have the cat or anything on it. What I also notice is the MT10 is a lot more twitchy and squirrely and everything, as far as like when you let off the clutch and give it gas. I mean, it wants to go. This one's a little bit more forgiving, I guess is the word to use for it. It's not so twitchy at first. But yeah, all that power and everything on the MT10 is like immediate. It's like down low. With this bike, like I said, you have to really get it up in the RPM to really get the power out of it. Now, comfort, ergonomics, everything, like I said, you are on a sport bike, you're going to be leaned over, and that's how I'm sitting right now. I'm just leaned over. And I mean, some guys, you know, and girls, they will buy these bikes and don't care about all that and ride them around town and everything. You know what I'm saying? It's all personal preference, you know, what you want to get out of the bike. Suspension and everything on here is really bumpy on all these on these roads and stuff. They have a lot of bumps and stuff on them. I think that's going to vary from bike to bike, just because like I said, most of your nakeds, they're sport hyper nakeds, whatever you want to call them these days, and they pretty much have the same type of suspension setup as most of your sport bikes are going to have. Also on this bike, my legs and everything on the rear sets and stuff, I'm hiked up a lot more. So that's really the huge difference between riding something like a naked bike and a sport bike. It's going to be your seating position, and like I said before, the down low power and everything. So speaking of power, let's go ahead and talk about that. So this bike has right around 116 horsepower stock, I think 45 pound-feet of torque, so not a lot of torque. The MT10 has 82 pound-feet of torque. But once again, that is a 1000cc naked bike. Instead of it being something like an MT07 or something like that, might be a better, maybe even an MT09. MT09 is still kind of up there too, but probably an MT07 would be a better comparison to this bike. The MT10 also is pushing around close to 160 horsepower, and this bike is coming in right around 419 pounds wet, and the MT10 is about 460 pounds. And I like the mirrors on here and everything because I like the position where they're at. You can just look over real quick, and then like I said, bar end mirrors on sport bikes, I don't really like them too much, is because they're way down here and you have to look way down, you know what I'm saying, just to check behind you. And something like an MT10 that has down low torque, or even any other naked for that matter, compared to something like this that doesn't make its power till up top, you can definitely tell the difference. So check it out. Oh man, God, this thing sings, man. It sounds so good. but there's no torque down low. This thing is gutless. Once I get above 10,000 RPM, that's when everything kicks in. So you really have to have this thing screaming in order to really have fun with it. But people don't buy sport bikes to putt around with. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna go fast with a sport bike, let's be honest. Also on a sport bike, you have the windscreen and everything to kind of protect you from the wind. So when you get down and start, you know, moving out, you're gonna kind of hide away from the wind and everything. That's basically, I mean, that's what this bike was built for. You know, it was built for speed, going on the track, stuff like that. And there's probably a lot of you out there that already have experience with these bikes. You know, you've been on plenty of sport bikes and nakeds and stuff like that. I think this is more geared towards newer riders and or some people who's only been on a certain category of bike and they're thinking about switching over. Now on the MT, as soon as I hit it in third gear like that, immediate power. Like that thing would have tried to throw me off the back. Once I hit this, as you can see, the power gradually got up there. I mean, I hit it, but it wasn't like a kick you in your face type torque, you know what I'm saying? We'll say I'm loving this weather right now. Cannot complain about that. Alright guys, so just a quick down and dirty of the two bikes, you know, trying to compare a sport bike to a naked if you guys are looking to pick one up for yourself and you're kind of on the fence and can't decide. And I know it wasn't the best comparison because this is a 600 and the MT-10's a 1000, but hey, it still gets the general idea across. Alright guys, and I hope that this video helped you out in your decision, and if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, give me a like if you're liking what you're seeing guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.